The second the second important aspect of being a musician is having a good ear, training your ear. I didn't know how to go about it until I went to junior college out in California. I went to a little junior college, and I took a class called Musicianship. And what he taught was what we call a movable do system. And that worked for me better than anything else I tried. Actually, I went to another couple of colleges before that, and they wouldn't have any kind of set ear training class, but this one did. And it was all movable do, meaning whatever key you're in is do. If I'm in the key of A, do, that's do. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. If I'm in E flat, do, that's do. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, ti, la, sol, fa, mi, re, do, mi, so, ti, re, ti, do, so, fa, so, mi, so, re, so, do. So that was the system I learned. And if you're in E flat, do. If you're in C minor, la is la is the root of C minor. It's still E flat is do. Do, ti, la, ti, do, re, mi, fa, fi, so, si, la, ti, do. And that was the system I learned. And the way I practiced, and the way my college teacher told me to practice, I took him seriously, and it works. I'd go home, and he'd do this in class actually. He'd play a C chord on the piano and just randomly start hitting notes around C, and the whole class would have to sing what that was, like do, mi, re, so, ti. And he'd do that, then he'd pick us out individually and have us do it in front of the class. And if you couldn't do it, he'd sometimes make some derogatory comments like, you ever thought of taking up nursing or something? So, and I was intent on being a musician, so I practiced. I would go home and have my mother do that. I'd have her sit and play a C chord and just start randomly hitting note close to C. Sometimes I'd have to sing up to that note. Do, re, she'd play D, and I'd have to go do, re, mi, and I'd have to think of where mi was. And after a while, she started hitting random notes and getting further away from do. And after a while, it clicked where any note she played sounded like that syllable. Do, so, mi, fa, re, mi, do, fi. After a while, even the notes that were out of the diatonic scale would sound like those notes. Do, fi, so, me, di, do, ti, do, re, do, di, re, mi, fa, fi, so on. So there's chromatic syllables too. And believe me, you practice and diligently do that every day, and within a semester it started to click. Within a year it was really clicking, and that's the way I practice. Some other things I would do to help that along is I got a chromatic pitch pipe that the choir directors would give you pitches, and I would, while I was driving or at a stoplight, I would blow C on. I'd look at the pitch pipe and blow C, and then I'd spin it, and then I'd start just hearing notes because I didn't have a piano while I'm driving, and I'd make use of my driving time that way. And whatever note I play, I'd try to find out, hear that syllable. And after a while, man, you can hear all chromatic tones. It's a great system, and it takes the mystery out of hearing. The other thing, and what that does too, by the way, it's you need, when you're playing with a band. I used to play these gigs with real great bass players, and when I lived out in California and when I lived in Washington, D.C. And if I didn't know a tune, I would glue my ear to the bass, and he'd be playing. Most of the time they play, like they'll start out playing in 2, and they'd play something like. if they played that, I could hear do, mi, fa, fi, so, and I could harmonize, and I knew what the chords were, just more likely. You have to have two frames of reference here. You need a melody and you have to have somebody playing the melody and somebody playing the bass line to do that. And then also, I used to practice like this. I'd get a Jamie Aebersold CDs. I had a CD player, and I could put 6 CDs in, and I'd put my my CD player on random selection. So it'd pick, gosh darn, if there's 6 CDs and 10 tunes on each CD, that's 60 tunes, and I turn off the piano track where I would just listen to the bass and try to play along and trying to figure out what tune it was they were playing. So ways of practice and training your ear, playing with the band too. I did run into a little bit of trouble once. One time I heard and it went on from there for something else, and I couldn't, well, I know what that is. That's and then all of a sudden, he went to somewhere else, but wherever it went, I couldn't figure out what the tune was until I turned on the piano track. Then I come to find out it was in minor. It was. So the point is, you need 2 frames of reference. You need the melody. You need to hear whether it's that or that. Can we pause for a second here? Sure.